happy Monday, everyone. And I am back with my next installment. And today we have a very special guest. This is Jeff Meyer. He's based out of Lodi. He is an attorney here. He's had a long-standing practice. And I wanted to talk to him because when we had lunch about a week ago, he mentioned the importance of estate planning and wills, especially for first-time homebuyers, but just in general. So, Jeffrey, thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it.
Yep, you bet.
So, the basic question is, why is a will important even for younger people? Maybe they don't even have children yet, but they just bought their first house.
Well, I'm going to focus on younger people then. The reason is, assuming they're a married couple, especially if they are not, they certainly should have a will. But if they are a married couple and looking to buy a house and get into home ownership, you're starting to build your assets and may very well have a child coming down the road. But especially with the child coming down the road. But if you have a house, it's important to get it titled correctly so that, I look at things in the sense of what happens at probate. So probate would go smoother if it's titled correctly.
Okay.
You also appoint a personal representative, a person who used to be called the executor, which will save money at the time of probate if you have that person identified, as opposed to having to go to court to get that person identified.
Okay.
And you're starting to build marital property together, and discussions should be had so you know what that is,
Sure.
how that affects the estate planning, and who will be getting the property.
Sure. How easy is it to get that set up?
It takes, to get things started for, say a new couple, that a phone call to the office.
Okay.
And we do like people, so we can then send out a form for them to complete, which is helpful but not necessary. The other thing that we can do, which is done, quite frankly, the majority of times, is just to come in, have the people come in, sit down, talk. We talk about the assets, we talk about what they want, who they want to get what, and we get an idea of that so we can start drafting the will.
Okay.
And then there's a revision or two normally along the process.
How long does it usually take from start to finish?
Oh, certainly less than a month, 2 to 3 weeks, we can get it done.
Okay, really fast. Cool.
Yeah, if it's more complicated, then we start talking about maybe wills, trusts, more in-depth estate planning, but and that would take longer. But otherwise, from start to finish, to do your will, to get things set up, about 2 to 3 weeks.
Cool. Just so everybody has kind of context, have you ever had a idea or story where somebody maybe didn't have that set up and something not so great happened, and the ramifications, or an example?
Yeah. Again, without mentioning names, because that's just to keep confidentiality, but all this is actually in the book saying we have a very complicated situation where a person was working on the will before they died, before they passed. But if you don't have it properly signed, you don't have a will. And this was not signed. There was allegedly pieces of paper left around, and it resulted in going to trial.
Oh, jeez.
It resulted in going to the Court of Appeals, and eventually, unfortunately for my client, resulted in a decision that favored my client. But it was very complicated and very extended, and
Expensive?
And
Yeah.
quite expensive with clients.
Sure. No, I hear you.
Yeah.
Can you add anything else in terms of why else it would be extremely beneficial just to, right off the beginning?
A lot of people don't understand the laws of marital property and how that all works, and how to to deal with that and make sure that when you die, what happens to your assets is what you want to be done. And so just to understand that and to get that down on paper and properly signed is critical. And
Yeah.
so I know a lot of people, and I get asked a lot of times about doing it on forms they get on computers, and you can get things from the computer, but just to make sure it's properly done and done with the proper understanding is what those forms don't provide.
It sounds like that probably happened in a couple of cases where not everything was perfectly done, and it caused some complications later on down the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
In a nutshell.
Yes. In a nutshell.
And that makes okay. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yep. You're
thanks for
welcome. I
taking time out of
appreciate
your
you
day.
coming in and asking
Yeah.
me some questions, talking to me.
All right. All right, guys. Until Monday, I will see you again. But I'd like to thank Jeff and his law firm. His contact information is also on this page if you have any questions for him. He'd be happy to take any calls, emails. But anyways, until next time, I will see you around. Thanks.